Here's to the finest crew in Starfleet.
When it comes to my crew, you won't get any argument from me.
This is a parody. Paramount owns the song.
Welcome to The Greatest Generation. It's a Star Trek podcast by a couple of guys. Just a little bit embarrassed about having a Star Trek podcast. I'm Ben Harrison.
I'm Adam Pranica.
We've done something to ourselves once again. We've got to do a Talaxian champagne episode. We were talking briefly before this that we don't have access to Talaxian champagne. So, how do we even do that?
What qualifies as Talaxian champagne?
How did you go about interpreting our directive today, Adam?
Well, the word champagne is really the thing that steered me toward a bottle of Bubs. And when the game of buttholes steers us towards a fun square, we must comply. And so today I have got a bottle from the Las Harris winery. This is of course the Eric Wareheim winery, and they make a really fun wine product. This is the 2019 sparkling wine, Redwood Valley, Mendocino County.
Okay.
And it's got a really fun Jen Stark artwork on it. Mandala? Is that what that is when it's circular?
Oh, I like the use of mandala in this context.
Yeah. It's kind of the mandala effect when you get close to it.
Yeah. Is that wine actually dead?
We'll see. We'll see when we open it. What are you drinking, Ben?
I was in the wine aisle of my local grocery, and this caught my eye because it was affordable. It's Lunaria Orsogna Ancestrale. It's a Pet Nat Pinot Grigio. So this is one of these hipster wines that you hear so much about.
Yeah, it looks so orange.
Yeah, it's very naranja. The thing that caught my eye about it, I don't know if you can see this, is for no reason that I can determine, there's a sticker on the side holding down some string that keeps the label on that just says, "From sheep in our vineyards."
So the rope is made of sheep's wool?
I don't know, maybe? Or is there something in the wine that's from the sheep?
Oh, I bet that's it.
I don't know, yeah. Oh, and it also says on this Parco Nazionale della Maiella on here. So I don't know if that means that their vineyard is in a national park or...
Who's to say?
Yeah. So all of the inscrutability of this, the what the fuck is even going on here-ness of this bottle of wine was what made me feel like it may be the most Talaxian wine available to me.
Nice choice by you, Ben. I will be enjoying mine, as all fine beverages should be, in a plastic novelty cup that I got from a restaurant that also happens to change colors based on the temperature of what's inside. Of course, I filled up this giant cup with ice because we're going long today, buddy.
This is exactly what Eric Wareheim had in mind when he bottled this, I'm sure. You know, it's like seeing a Christopher Nolan film in 75 millimeter, projected is what you're doing with this wine.
That extra 5 millimeters makes all the difference. Ask anyone.
I've heard that 35 is plenty.
Oh, look at you with the proper vessel. You got one of those tall shambongs, it looks like, because I can't see the bottom of it.
But it's a proper champagne flute.
Nice job. I was not about to bring glassware out to the studio, outside of the bottle itself.
No, yeah, you break glass in there, you got to burn the whole studio, right?
It's true. Yeah,
it's like breaking glass in the ice bucket behind a bar,
which famously I have done.
That does not surprise me at all.
Hey, cheers to you, man.
Cheers. Cheers.
And to the FODs, it would seem as though present tense us, stone cold sober. Future tense, also going to be drunk, and the title of today's episode, Ben, Star Trek Enterprise Season 2 episode S2E16.
So we got a tin can tumbling in space. No biosigns coming from it. Not much coming from it, right? Like, they're not picking up anything. Archer wants to bring it aboard right away.
How good do your sensors need to be to even pick this thing up? If you're cruising along, going and doing something else? Because they go a long way in saying, like, no engines, no lights, no power, no nothing. No nothing.
No nothing.
What makes them stop even?
I don't know. Maybe it was like dead ahead of them and their deflector array was going to like catch something if they hit it.
What are the odds?
I don't know.
2 to the power of 2,079,460,347 to 1 against.
Amazing.
So they bring it aboard and
I love that idea, though.
very quickly find a hatch. Like, they're like, that's obviously where it opens, and they hit it with a phaser, which is one of my favorite, like, alternate use cases. Like, anytime a sci-fi weapon is used to melt metal, like, I loved it in that Star Wars movie where they're like plunging their phasers to like cut a hole in a door.
It's the classic bank vault situation where like you're using torches and shit. It's great.
Right. So they find a hatch. They phaser it open. Archer gets this technology device that I guess just makes a handle so that you can push the door aside.
That's fun. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a slidey door, like a van, you know? And it's a good thing they phased the right side of it because that's the side of the shuttle with the slidey door.
Yeah.
Do you remember a time where there were minivans where only one side of the van had a door that slid open?
It was such a fucking huge deal when both sides started to slide open.
How did we not even start with a both sides van? Like the idea that we were going to go to production with a van and the slidey door is only on one side. What?
And there's not even a door on the other side, right?
No!
In that case, there's no door on the other side.
It seems crazy that ever made it to market.
Dude, I don't know if your algo is like mine, but I get a lot of videos about tricked out family vehicles these days.
I think that's a you thing at this point.
The number of minivans that have like a beverage cooler as like a optional thing that you can get delivered from the factory these days is amazing.
Oh, like in modern vans.
Like Toyota offers as like an add-on, there can be a fridge built in like in the back seat for your kids.
God, I kind of have van lash because like for a time I really wanted a Vanagon van.
Mm-hmm.
A Vanagon Synchro specifically, like the 4-wheel drive kind.
Yeah.
Westphalia with the pop tent and so forth.
This is very analogous to my love and appreciation of the Delica, which is a very similar idea. It's like a van designed for going on adventures with.
So like right out of college, I had the great idea of like, I'm going to test this out first before buying one.
Yeah.
There was an outfit in Seattle that used to rent them, like for people who wanted to go camping and stuff.
Yeah. Try before you buy.
And there was a music festival coming up. And I was like, cool, I'm going to rent one of these and like test the life. Mm-hmm. So I go out there and I pick up this Vanagon and it's so fucking sweet. And I'm like stirring through the gears and like, oh, it's the best. It is so slow and so loud. Make it 30 minutes out of town. Engine overheats, dumps all the coolant. I got to pull over. Like the thing just broke down on me.
Damn.
And I saw it as a sign. Like the guys from the shop came to pick me up. They took me back to the shop. I picked up my car, like ended up taking the car to the music festival. And that kind of ended my love for that specific vehicle. But man, like those old Vanagons, so fucking cool.
You tried it out and you had kind of like the Jay Sherman review of van life.
It stinks.
And that's what Archer has of the inside of this pod. There's a Deadman inside there as well, and he's human.
What do you make of the decision to make the person inside an actual actor wearing loaf and shit? Because when they do this thing where they wing the chair around and you get up close to him and you can see his eyelids flutter, and I'm like, when are those eyes gonna open? Open them up.
I think it is weirdly expensive to get a corpse for a show. Like a good looking like dead cadaver is something that usually needs to be custom made.
That's like a resin body. You're not talking about like a body, right?
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't you donate your body to Hollywood if you could, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
That seems
way
good.
more important than science.
Yes. Yes.
But like, yeah, I got to talk to the executive producer of the show Bones one time, and yeah, he told me like they just have like a shop that is like constantly producing bones for them.
That's Bones.
Yeah. So that's our cold open. We got a guy who's doing a bad job of faking being dead.
That's just it. And like, what's so wild is like they get this body onto the table at 6 Bay, and I'm like, anytime now, he's gonna bend at the waist and fucking Undertaker his way through the department, and that's not it at all. It's almost like they change bodies once they go to a wider shot.
And Phlox like closes his eyes really hard and goes, "It's not real."
They don't know who this guy is, and they are going to want to run his DNA through the database at Starfleet. But Archer is clearly shook because one of the ideas on the table, as it were, is this Zephram Cochrane? Because after all, he was piloting that one-person vessel when he disappeared. Check the registry, I say. NCC 6969 USS Money. You fucking bastard, you did it. You built a one-person spacecraft and you were just set out to get women and money.
It does seem like they would have a record of what Cochrane was in, right?
Yes,
like what it
right?
would look like.
I'm shocked by this.
It's shocking. Also, it just didn't look like Farmer Hoggett, like when we got the close up of the cadaver.
Yeah. Would be fun to bring back that actor though, and just loaf him up. No speaking lines, no acting even, really.
It's a fun cameo.
Yeah, just lay there.
So Trip Reed and Mayweather are scanning this ship, and it like really doesn't make a lot of sense to them mechanically. For one thing, it absorbs EM radiation, and only because of the damage to the ship can they even detect its existence at all. And so they're confused on that, like how did somebody develop the alloys to do this? But also it doesn't seem to have any like vents or, plasma manifolds or Bussard collectors or any of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The qualities of a starship or a spacefaring craft of any kind seems to be absent of this thing. It's junk. Maybe it's an escape pod. That's what they postulate here. But
even that would have a propulsion system, right?
There are some escape pods with propellers.
But not in space.
Hey, let me ask you a question. You're smart enough to get this. If a propeller were on something in space and you started to turn it, the thing that wasn't the propeller would turn, right?
Oh, yeah, but maybe like the mass would be a differential, so like the propeller would turn faster than the thing it was attached to or something.
It's just such a mind blower.
Yeah. Inertia. Give me a fucking break with that shit.
In Archer's clarinet rental room, sexual icon Admiral Forrest is on screen.
Oh yeah, I forgot what a sexual icon he was.
Claiming that he just doesn't have any idea about any sort of secret mission that this dude might have been on. Like, he has access to all the files. He knows about the aliens and the JFK assassination and all that, but he has no idea what this guy's deal is, and he doesn't really have any theories about who this guy could be.
I loved the idea that they've solved one of the greatest mysteries in human history if it is Cochrane, and found an even bigger one if it isn't.
And that it's almost bad news if it isn't.
Yeah.
I love that feeling for sure.
Back in the shuttle bay, the gang is getting a little further into the pod, and they find something new to do now. Here is lots of new blue goo now. New goo. blue goo. Gooey gooey, blue goo, new goo, gluey gluey. Gooey goo for chewy chewing. That's what Goo Goose is doing. Do you choose to chew goo too, sir? If, sir, you, sir, choose to chew, sir, with the Goo Goose, chew, sir. Do, sir.
What are you doing?
Oh, God. Oh, I just fell into a fugue state.
Ben, no one knows what you're saying right now. You're talking all gobbledygook.
This thing is bigger on the inside than on the outside. What the fuck?
Before we go down the hole, they find this hatch covered with the blue goo that you just described.
Mm-hmm.
That reads as toilet to me. You get a hole with blue liquid in it? I'm like, don't touch it, Trip.
We're either demonstrating the absorbative qualities of a maxi pad or we're flushing an airplane.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is a one-person craft. The guy's gotta have a dumper. Like what are we talking about here? And they just so nonchalantly like, oh, this blue liquid is certainly not toilet stuff.
Have they gone nose blind? We already established the way the inside of this craft smells.
Yeah.
Do not go in there. Woo!
You know it's a fucking utopian future when Starfleet people start disassembling a craft and they encounter the blue liquid of the latrine and they don't even know what it is.
God, what a miracle it would be to arrive at a place where toilet isn't even on your mind at all.
It's all getting beamed out.
You are legally obligated whenever a secret well is unearthed. You gotta drop something down it. Because how else are you gonna know how deep it is?
Hand me that hypospanner.
Hey, this one's for the boys.
What I wish this scene was a full 15 minutes of Reed and Trip just dropping shit down there.
Get something else heavy. Let's get something bouncy now.
You want to make me like Reed even a little bit more than 0%? Like, give me that scene and give me a little bit of his personality at play here.
I love that Trip was like, let's go in there. And Malcolm was like, shouldn't we like tell someone we're going in there? And then they don't.
I love the bit that Trip does too. He does an in-person staticky phone bit where he's like, oh, Reed, I can't hear you. I'm going down the hole. I can't hear what you're saying.
Whoa, Adam's office works just like this hole. Mine does too. Adam, check this out. Crescent wrench.
Whoa.
It took so long to hear that, right?
How deep is your studio? What goes totally unscrutinized here is like ladder as a technology. Did you think about that in this moment? Like, there's nothing alien about a ladder. There's something actually very comforting about seeing a ladder in this situation because it's so familiar.
Yeah, but such a strange choice in a context of we can defy the laws of physics and make a ship that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, but the way you get around it is ladder.
Yeah. Weird, right?
So they think that what they've climbed down to is the engine room, and maybe they're looking at signs of a warp breach or something, and it looks no less damaged inside this new chamber than it did on the outside. So Reed and Trip are down there when a Suliban ship shows up in space near the Entrepreneur. And initially, like, they're not that stressed about this Suliban ship because we get it on screen. It does not look like the design of a ship that is built for fighting. It is very like cargo vessel-y in its look.
It looks like it's got a bunch of flappers on it or fly swatters. It's a fly swatter class Suliban ship. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like it's going to do much damage to them until it starts to.
Yeah, because this captain claims that they have salvage rights to this pod.
I feel like that's what you say in space.
Mm-hmm.
I claim salvage. As captain, I claim salvage.
Like you say it even if you don't believe it. Yeah, we got salvage rights to that. I said it first.
Yeah, the fucking Packleads know that. Like,
I said it before you.
Yeah, and he says, like, we found this 3 days ago. Like, one of our ships found it. They sent us out here to get it. You showed up too late for this. And Archer's like, no, well, it's a human inside. Like, it's clearly something from our species. You can't have it. And they start getting spicy, and Reed and Trip are discovering some gadget inside the pod when the bangers start dropping, and they can feel these even though they are inside a physically impossible place.
Do you think at some point they stopped with the flag planting as a thing that demonstrates we got this? Because it would seem as though, like, if you really did have salvage rights to anything, you'd plant a flag or equivalent on it. Like the
Right.
Suliban would just tag it with like a paintball gun type thing, and that's theirs.
Sula Blonde line, do not cross tape
Exactly.
that they wrap the pod in.
Yeah. Yeah, without that, it's kind of hard to prove.
Yeah. So Reed and Trip get back up outside of the pod, and surprise, there are Suliban roof crawlers in the bay there with them.
Yeah. And a firefight pops off pretty fast. Like, the first guy gets taken out quickly, but then the other guy scampers up to the control panels. And, that glass is phaser proof. You're not getting through that thing, Reed.
Yeah.
Trip goes down for the count early, though. I didn't like seeing that. Like, Trip's walloped.
I also didn't like seeing Reed just try and shoot through this glass that is phaser proof. Like, run up there, fool. What are you doing?
He didn't have the higher ground. When you're on the lower ground, that's not something you should do strategically.
You're down there. We're up here.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Hoshi reports to the captain that Launch Bay 2 is being depressurized, and he asks her to try and stop it.
Lock them out.
I can't.
T'Pol has taken over at Reed's station, I guess, and so she is the one doing all of the firing guns at the other ship and actually doing damage. Like, she takes out their weps, which, you need weps, right?
We gotta have Weps. He's the key.
You do, but, will Grappler ever not be a laugh line?
Target their engines and bring the grappler online.
This is hard, right? They've disabled the ship, and the next step in keeping it in place is the grappler, and I just can't get on the grappler's level as a strategy.
It's fun to see, if I think I will forgive grappler lines when they actually reward us with shots of the grappler getting used.
Successful grapplering, I think, would go a long way here.
Agreed. So the invading Suliban get beamed out, and the Suliban ship cloaks and presumably zooms away. And we learned that the Enterprise is going to pack this pod up and put it on a Vulcan ship and send it back to Earth so that they can keep doing their deep space mission.
I really like this as a concept. I don't love it for this specific concept, but I like the idea of we don't have room for all of the tourist trinkets aboard the ship. We've got to, at intervals, send them back with grandma who's going home early from the vacation, who isn't going to do the whole thing,
Sure.
We don't have room in our luggage for all of this.
And the Vulcans have a lot of ships that can go this fast, but we just have this one, so...
Yeah. But I don't like it for this specific thing because it still merits so much more study, and everyone is still so curious about what the deal is.
Especially as this episode unfolds, I'm like, why would you trust the Vulcans with this thing?
Totally.
This is such a threat to their scientific orthodoxy. But yeah, so what they think they found, this gadget that they pulled out of it, is the black box. And they are hoping that they can get into it and see, what they can find out about this ship. Meanwhile, we get some pretty surprising news from Phlox in Six Bay, because he has sequenced this dude's DNA, and he's more than just human.
Oh yeah, he is a mutated man. He's part Vulcan, part Tyrellian, part mystery alien, kind of a mutt. And because he is a product of all this interspecies breeding, it's pretty clear that this is a time traveler, because this is the sort of breeding that has not happened in this current moment, right?
Yeah, but we saw Carbon Creek, and Archer's like, we haven't been in contact with the Vulcans long enough for this to be possible. And
yeah.
Yes, we fucking have, and we have.
Yeah.
And you know that an absolute baddie went back there with those Vulcans. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. She absolutely crushed the pelvis of some college-bound teenager.
yeah, collected some really promising DNA samples like a Bene Gesserit and moved on.
She put that thing down.
So Archer and T'Pol are pretty shook by this, and they go straight to Daniel's quarters and take the lock off of it. And it's like kind of a hilarious pretense that they even put a lock on the door at this point.
I kind of love the suggestion of familiarity between like, oh, that's a hatch under a bathroom that goes forever, much in the same way as crewman Daniels' locker.
Yeah.
Was probably used as a toilet at some point and also goes on forever. Like, you can draw a line between those two ideas.
Like Daniels' quarters is like, he is low enough rank that he's got like a down the hall bathroom that's shared with a bunch of other people kind of a situation.
Sometimes you just don't want to do that.
So his locker is like, come on, this is the perfect crime. Like nobody is ever going to find this.
Yeah, when your locker is like 10 acres deep.
Like I'm pissing into the back of my locker. It's not close to my bed at that point.
No. So they take out that holographic computer device that we've seen before, the one that kind of blurps a hollow image of this database that's inside. And as they look, T'Pol makes sure to mention that Vulcans and humans boning down, that's not really a thing. It's impossible. Yeah. You would be very confused about the holes and the situation. Trust me.
There are significant biological differences between the species.
I think the funniest writing and funniest acting in this episode is every time Archer tries to talk about the idea of interspecies breeding around T'Pol.
Because T'Pol always takes it personally before pivoting back into like her react is personal and then she re-reacts as in general.
Yeah.
It's really great.
It rules. They look into this database. They find the ship that the record of the ship that they've discovered. It's from nearly 900 years in the future. Maybe this guy is one of these time-traveling historians that they've heard about who come back to the past to, bear eyewitness to historical events.
The thing about the temporal Cold War is that it would seem as though if this technology fell into the Suliban hands, it would destabilize that whole situation. So can't let that happen. And T'Pol asks an interesting question here. She's like, I mean, if this ship is so important, like we're kind of presuming, why haven't the future folks come back for it? Like, it's clearly not important enough for them to come and get, right? So why aren't they here? But they can't even answer this question because a ship is approaching Enterprise at high warp, and it's not Suliban. And for the moment, they're kind of relieved by that.
Yeah, until this ship proves to be just as keen on taking the pod by force. And this is Tholians. We learn they're a non-humanoid species who have to use a speak and spell to issue their threats about how the ship has temporal radiation that will cook them all. The Tholians have tractor beam technology. They are not using grapples, and they throw one on the entrepreneur. And I love Archer's move here. He's like basically taking the salvage ship hostage. Like, you can't have it. Like, we'll fucking destroy it before we let you have it.
This is also a happy privilege, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, look, I'm not going to destroy Enterprise, but I've got a fucking phaser to this tin can's head.
Yeah.
And it would give me great joy to blow this thing away.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you don't have it.
So the Tholians cuss him out in 28.8 baud. And they fuck off. And Phlox and T'Pol meet up in the dining room late night to have a hang. Phlox is never, his appetite is never like affected by his work, right?
I looked at this tray and how it was loaded up. It was like creaking under the weight of what he had loaded it up with. what the fuck are you doing this late at night?
There are like king crab legs at the all-you-can-eat, and we are going to get our fucking money's worth right now.
A casino is the only context for this much food this late. That's what I thought when I saw this. Like, wow.
Wow.
Sleep will not come soon for Dr. Phlox, that's for sure.
His corpse is full of surprises, though. More DNA than just human and Vulcan. All kinds of shit in there.
Yeah.
The metal in the hull of the pod, also very interesting. T'Pol, a little less thrown by everything she's discovered, but is like talking about what a strangely high number of undescribed materials are in there. And they talk about how evidence for this being a thing from the future is kind of mounting in a way that is pretty uncomfortable for T'Pol. Like, proof of the possibility of time travel is going to be an uncomfortable day for them because they've really staked a lot on this being logically impossible.
And it kind of feels like it doesn't matter what is proven to T'Pol or not through this experience. The science directorate of Vulcan has said that time travel is impossible. So it would actually be really uncomfortable if it were proven in this case, because it would put T'Pol out on that limb.
You know, her reputation has taken such a fucking beating going around with these humans all this time. As we learned in recent episodes, like, it's an ugly situation.
I'm going to ask you a question that I feel like would be would help me and the viewers get to know you and me a lot better.
Okay.
You're in the mess hall. Say you're T'Pol.
Mm-hmm.
Say you are sitting where T'Pol is sitting when Dr. Phlox walks in.
Oh, fuck. I just got a lot less sexy.
You're in an empty mess hall, and Dr. Phlox walks in and loads up his tray, and you watch him load it up. It takes like fucking 10 minutes to fill his tray. And you're in there. Do you want him to sit at your table or not?
May I join you?
Please.
T'Pol's in there by herself, having a great time, drinking her tea or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you like that Dr. Phlox sits next to you or not?
I gotta say, like, knowing myself, it's a no.
Yeah, it's a no for me too.
But also, I kind of think I'm Dr. Phlox in this.
How fucking awkward would it be if he sat anywhere else but with T'Pol, though? That's also weird.
Yeah. I want to be in a place in my life where when I encounter a scenario like this, I can say, would you like some company, and not feel offended or put upon either way, you know? But like, the ask is always loaded, right? Like, being asked, would you like some company, kind of puts the pressure on you to say yes.
Yeah, it makes you an asshole if you say no. Yeah.
But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's okay to say, not right now. I'm doom scrolling, and that's kind of the hang that I'm looking for right now. I got my iPad out, and I'm doom scrolling and drinking my tea.
What I thought initially was like, I'm going to be a T'Pol in the sheets and Dr. Phlox in the streets, which is to say, like, my true feelings are I want to be by myself, but I'm going to feel obligated to have you join my table.
Mm-hmm.
But now I feel like you should be T'Pol in the sheets and T'Pol in the streets, or Phlox in the sheets and Phlox in the streets. Whatever your true nature is, you should just be that.
So is there one is like I'm a T'Pol in the streets and a Phlox in the sheets. One is I'm a Phlox in the streets, I'm a T'Pol in the sheets. One is I'm a T'Pol in the streets and a T'Pol in the sheets. And one is I'm a Phlox in the sheets and a Phlox in the streets.
Yes, all four. It's kind of a square bumper sticker is what it is. It's actually very wordy.
I say buy them as a set, you know?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
You probably know 4 people, put them on their cars.
Yeah.
Face of the fart. And you will never take the greatest gin alive. Ben would rather die.
What?
Reed and Trip are having kind of a similar conversation about the ramifications of this pod, but theirs is a little bit more on the idea of like going to the future or knowing what the future holds. And man, Trip is all about the journey. Reed's all about the destination. And that's just really sad, man.
Yeah. They're working on this box that they ripped off of the wall. down at the bottom of the well, and it's clear they're very different about how they feel about knowing things about the future. Trip is content and happy to be in his time, and Reed is like, my current life is so awful. There's no hope in it whatsoever, that I would rather be in any other time than this one.
I would like to know when it is appropriate to start writing all the letters to all of the women I've wronged.
The first thing I would do, were I to travel into the future, is write to all of my dead girlfriends. Because I would be so far into the future that they would certainly be dead.
Hopefully they all put a little bit of money away in a bank account, because the interest alone could be enough to buy this ship.
Trip's like, well, I don't care about my ex-girlfriends. I want to go meet dinosaurs. They're cool as hell.
I always wanted to meet a Stegosaurus.
Oh, man, I loved the camera move when they hit this temporal hiccup.
Dude, me too. This was so unusual for a Star Trek show.
A really chaotic, like, not a zoom in, but a dolly in or a walk in on the camera.
Did you say a specific camera move named after me?
Yes.
Give it the old walking. You know. You stick the dolly in your ass.
You know, Spike Lee stuck the actor on the dolly. Walken stuck the dolly in the actor.
He did. Wow.
It was your birthright.
I love that Spike Lee signature shot, by the way. That's like one of the silliest signature shots in existence, but I fucking love it every time I see a Spike Lee movie.
It is extremely film schooly
It
in
is.
a, like, this is the thing I'm going to do every time kind of way.
Yeah, yeah. But like he invented it, you know? It's so good. Anyways, they hit this deja vu thing over and over again. I loved how, I love what like a light, ridiculous conversation about dinos they were having as they did it, you know?
That's what makes this better, right? If they're talking about anything else, I don't think it's as cool.
Yeah.
But then it's dino talk.
Dinos in the Spanish Armada? What could be a better two topics of conversation? What about dinos in the Spanish Armada? Now we're talking about the premise of a 90s cartoon show.
Which dinosaurs had nipples, do you think?
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
So Phlox cannot find anything wrong with them after they've reported this as a, like shared deja vu does feel like a medical condition.
But also kind of an engineering condition. Like, I thought it was so weird that they went to Phlox with this.
Yeah.
Like, you can wave the tricorder over me, but I'm still here to tell you, like, I've traveled through time.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to get that on the tricorder.
I'm guessing that this edition of the Starfleet standard issue tricorder doesn't have like a chronoton detector in it.
Right. That would come much later.
Yeah. So T'Pol does verify that there's temporal radiation, which is what the Tholians were warning them about. And it sort of like retroactively makes you wonder if the Tholians were trying to do them a solid by getting this thing away from them.
Yeah, I kind of felt like in this scene the Tholians were friendly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, despite how pointy and web-weavy looking their ships are.
Didn't you want to see a web this episode?
I wanted a web.
Yeah.
But then this would be the Tholian web, and that's a different episode of Star Trek, you know?
I guess so.
Anyways, there's like almost a McLaughlin group.
Yeah.
Where this is reported on the bridge.
Like if Eleanor Clifton, John McLaughlin, like had a McLaughlin group just by themselves in like a side room.
Like if they walked across the set and like,
yeah,
you can read that op-ed in the Post this morning. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Like
Pat Buchanan's like, hey, what are you guys talking about?
Nothing.
McLaughlin's like, no, this isn't for you. This is for Clift. Wrong.
The question is like, we're a couple hours away from this Vulcan ship that we are going to unload this pod on. Now it's very clear that a lot of people want to attack us for it. Can we survive the next couple of hours when it's also doing things to us that we do not totally understand? And it's also clear that T'Pol just doesn't want the smoke of a temporal war.
I believe we shouldn't get involved.
Like it or not, we've been involved since we left Space Dock.
It is very striking how uncomfortable T'Pol is in this scene. for just so many reasons. I don't think she likes having this conversation. I think she's also really put off by the idea of time travel as a concept, given how she was raised.
Sure.
And I think the third part of this is that she feels like she's in real danger. I mean, she's always in danger when Archer is the captain making decisions. But like in this specific moment, they've got something of high value aboard a ship that has grapplers as defense and Archer as its captain. I think if you're T'Pol, this has kind of reached a point where if you care about your life in any way, you got to say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your curiosity is placing Enterprise in unnecessary danger.
He wants answers, though. Like,
what's weird about what he says is like, I'm tired of being a passive audience member to the temporal Cold War. I want to be a participant. I kind of didn't like that.
Yeah, yeah. Recruit me to whatever this is. Like, what? You don't even know, like, what they're fighting over.
You are the weakest combatant of all parties.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
What they realized down at engineering, where they've taken this thing that they thought was the black box, is they've not turned on a black box. They've turned on a transponder, and it is putting out a signal. Oh, shit. Is that the last of your wine? Holy shit.
I poured the last of my wine into my cup. So I'm now cup only.
Great.
With the ice.
All right. I feel less bad. I'm probably like 2/3 of the way through my botella.
I was kind of worried about my bottle getting warm. I just wanted to get it into the ice pronto.
I have to
say, the way any wine connoisseur would want to. You want to get it in with the ice immediately.
We didn't really check in on the wines. I got the sense that your bottle was one with which you're familiar. You've had this particular Las Jarras expression before.
I asked my wife, I was like, we've got a couple bottles of champagne at home. And I was like,
la-di-da.
What do I get to have that isn't going to really make you mad? And this is the one that she suggested. So
okay, that's
what I've got. How is your orange?
I have to say, my Pet Net Pinot Gris is delightful. It's biodynamic. It's assertive without being pushy.
And now you've got that little sheep's rope wrapped around your neck.
Yeah, I'll have a little fun with that once we turn off the mics.
Wouldn't you know it? As soon as you turn on this box that they have, that little transmitter or beacon attracts a bunch of Suliban ships.
Yeah.
And by a bunch, I mean like dozens.
Yeah, this is a familiar scene where like a ton of Suliban are chasing after the NX-01 and they're running back to like get under the skirts of the Vulcan mommy ship so that they can be safe.
Every time I see Mayweather now, they're like, Mayweather, you gotta punch it and get us out of here. I imagine Mayweather's like, should I also take off my shirt? Like, what if I just pull it up?
T'Pol is in the back of the bridge like, I hope he does.
Here's the thing, Ben. They're 3 minutes away from this rendezvous point with the Vulcans, and that seems pretty close, right? Like in distance. Yeah. But the problem is they're not picking up the phone because Archer wants to be like, hey, we got Suliban on us. Like, expect us to be bringing company to this meeting. And it is a really bad sign that they don't answer that hail.
It sucks. They are in a very spicy fight with the Suliban by the time they drop out of warp and realize that there's a bit of a post-359 situation going on with the Vulcan ship. There's a lot of debris floating around. The Vulcan ship is at a real gut-churning angle in space.
Yeah, we got some listing. It's no good.
But you know what? It wasn't the Suliban that done it. It was the Thuckenfolians.
Still no web. The presence of a web, unconfirmed.
No web.
Nope. We got to have webs.
He's the key.
But then the Suliban and the Tholians start fighting each other, which is staggering.
It is such a dunk on Enterprise. Like, Enterprise goes to warp to try to escape. They immediately get shot out of that. And they're just kind of floating as the Tholians and the Suliban fight all around them. Like, the impotence of just, like, the Enterprise is in the chair watching basically, as these two combatants go at each other, fighting over what's in their cargo bay.
My fucking wife has an ass in her cock in the driveway, Kurt. All right?
It feels so helpless and bad to be on the Enterprise right now.
Yeah. Archer realizes that this black box beacon thing needs to be working.
Yeah.
So he orders Trip to get on that, and then he and Reed agree to do a little surgery on a torpedo.
I love a surgery on a torpedo scene. They're like, hey, can we get a torpedo into a set that's already erected and lit for the episode? Like, Can we go ahead and do that there? We don't have the torpedo room set up right now, do we?
Then we'll bring the torpedo to the launch bay. Work on it there. You have the bridge.
This is such a bottle episode. It is like one L5 extra and Von Armstrong. No sets.
Nope.
It's like bridge, 6 bay, lunchroom, shuttle bay, right? Like, are there any other sets in the whole fucking episode?
That sounds like that test of cognitive ability.
Yeah.
Bridge, weapons room, mess hall.
Elephant, pirate ship, turtle.
Camera.
Oh, fuck, that's the art test! No!
Archer asks Reed to set up the conditions for the surgery on the missile, and Reed starts drawing like a little turtle head to match the other turtle head.
So that weird deja vu thing happens again as they are trying to load the payload of the warhead into the pod.
I feel like that's happening to me, given the rate of champagne consumption. I'm fucking hammering this thing.
I haven't drank wine like this in a long time. I feel absolutely insane. Like
you're doing good, man.
3 hours of sleep and this much wine is a fucking weird combination.
It's all good. Wendy's going to make us sound great.
Thank you, Wendy. Honestly, if anyone has ever contemplated supporting the show, this is the episode to do it on, because the amount of work Wendy does to clean something like this up, staggering.
I know. Yeah. Yep.
RSVP all the Suliban, they all get taken out by Tholians.
Which kind of suggests the high dollar value that this tin can and the cargo bay represents, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them are willing to die for that.
It is really crazy. And the Tholians reiterate that they would like to take custody of this vessel. And meanwhile, Reed and Archer just keep putting the warhead into the ship over and over again. Security prepares for a Tholian boarding party. We're told that the Tholians have connected to both docking rings.
This is an exciting moment to me. Let them in. I want to see.
This was New Hope, opening scene. What's going to come through that door when the sparks stop flying.
Good call. Yeah.
And I love that they got us so worked up for that. I'm presenting ass in the air. Give me the Tholians. And then we don't get them.
Up to the point of the scene of Enterprise security, stationed around the corner, ready to go. We get so close to that.
So good. But Trip finally gets the gadget broadcasting. And this is I think a particular strength of Enterprise. When they make an intricate prop, they are so good at making a prop have multiple physical states, things you can turn and alter.
There's a moment when Trip drops in kind of a cassette of power that it moves so smoothly and perfectly that it feels engineered in the way that you want it.
Yeah.
To if you're watching a future show, There's
this moment in The Fifth Element that breaks my heart every time I see that movie, which is they're in the hotel ship and a bomb kind of comes up out of a suitcase. And when it comes to a rest, it wiggles a little bit in the way that a lightweight thing that you just rigged up for the movie would wiggle, and not in the way that a heavy, scary, highly engineered explosive device would.
It breaks the spell, huh?
Yeah, it bumps you out of the movie for a moment in a way that like that's like the fucking climax. Like, come on, like that needs to work perfectly.
It's got to look like that. Yeah.
And I think Enterprise like consistently does a great job with props like that.
Yeah. So like at the climax of the episode, they decide to dump out the tin can with the missile inside.
Right.
And it gets scooped up by the Tholians. So you think like, cool, like the plan is we're going to detonate the missile when the Tholians have it, and that's our great plan. Except it doesn't work. So there's a moment here in the episode where it feels like all is lost, right? The Tholians have the thing.
Yeah.
And they're getting away, except the black box has worked. It's transmitted its message, and all of these objects disappear.
The fact that the bomb doesn't go off when they set the remote trigger read to me as like the hull, the thing that absorbs all EM signals, would have like prevented the signal getting to the warhead.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I wanted them to say something about that, like, fuck, we didn't think about that. Like, because they're all new to this, you know?
Who would have thought that if we put the bomb in all that blue fluid, it would somehow obscure the signal?
It would short out some of the connections. Damn.
I love shitting in liquid.
Nothing better than that. The only thing better than that is when you shit on top of a pile of shit that's built up in liquid.
Amazing scene, because it seems like we go from an all is lost to what did we lose? We didn't lose anything. All this stuff blurped away.
Yeah.
Evidently from future people who have taken all this stuff back.
They collected their stuff kind of like the Borgs do, almost like the disappearing phase out, like looked almost Borgsy to me.
It's such a dunk also that once the high value items are gone, the Tholians just bug out. Like Enterprise isn't even worth destroying to them.
Yeah.
Like, all right, whatever. That was what we came for.
You ain't shit to us.
Yeah. Like, you're not worth a torpedo.
Yeah. But the Vulcan ship is worth a shuttle pod. Archer is like, let's send some help over there. Because we learned that like they just lost engine power and like nobody actually died over there.
Yeah.
We get a little take from T'Pol. She's like, if you guys want to believe that ship got beamed away to the 31st century, that's fine for you. But like, extremely silly in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's the company line.
Yeah. She's going to prepare a report though. And the big question in her mind is, when I talk about how we found a corpse that was doing a bad job of faking that it was actually dead, how is the high command going to feel about the fact that it was part Vulcan?
They're more likely to believe in time travel.
The question T'Pol should be asking is, cool, Archer, like, I'll write the report, but like, what you're doing is telling me to tell Mayweather to write the report, right? That fucking guy is our report writer. I don't have to do shit.
And he's like, should I take my shirt off to write the report?
I love that, like, to Mayweather, everything is the first 20 seconds of a porn video.
Oh, I thought to Mayweather was a Vulcan that we hadn't met yet.
Oh, you want me to write the... Ich habe Report gegeben.
Oh no. I'm worried where this video is headed. If one of the performers speak in German.
And that's the end of the episode. Like, will Vulcans and humans fucking be part of this report? That's up to Mayweather. Did you like this episode, Ben?
I just nearly spilled.
I saw your camera blurp. What happened?
I didn't nearly spill. I spilled some champagne on my desk here, and I'm hoping that it's okay.
FODs, if you had bet Ben spills during the Drunkisode, go ahead and cash your tickets. All I do is bets. No matter what.
I'm gonna. I have a roll of paper towels over here. I'm gonna go grab.
Jesus.
Do you mind vamping while I just sop up some of the mess I've made?
I'm gonna say if I like this episode. And of course I did. Why did I like it? I like episodes with time travel. I like episodes with characters who don't believe in time travel. I like episodes where Trip Tucker gets to do bits. That's fun. I'm always going to think fondly of the moment Trip and Reed started dropping stuff down that well. That was neat. That was a good moment.
That one was for the boys.
And it kind of seems like this fits into a type of episode that Enterprise is doing, right? Like Temporal Cold War episode is a type of episode Enterprise does. This nudges us along down that timeline. We didn't learn jack shit about this guy, though, or the ship. Like, it's interesting. Like, it is interesting how much attention they were able to hold while giving us none of the answers that you would typically presume that you would get for something like this. This thing blurps away. You're not any smarter than you were earlier.
It's a real Lost episode in that respect. Like, it fills up the mystery box without ever opening it and revealing what's inside.
Don't Lindelof me, bro.
Yeah, good app, fun app, and I think that it's a testament to like how fun this show can be that they can make an episode as bodily as this one. Like there are no exotic locations, there's no nothing in this episode. Like they built one extra set for this and cast one extra, and it does a great job of being a myth arc episode that like makes us feel the temporal Cold War as a going concern in a more intense way without spoiling any of the fun of that.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. Good job. Good job, Star Trek Enterprise.
Good job by us. The last maybe 2.5 ounces of champagne here.
Oh, dude, you really passed me on the final stretch. I've got this much cup.
Oh, but you've got ice in there.
I do. I do have a lot of ice. Look, this should put to rest just the absolute drinksman that Ben is. And always has been over me. You were talking about a long layoff from drinking and a long layoff from sleeping. You got right back on the drinking bike, dude. And you can ride.
It's going to be fun telling my wife what I did at work today while she was on maternity leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's tell the FODs what the messages are in the priority one inbox.
Let's do it.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Need a supplemental income.
Supplemental income?
Supplemental.
Supplemental.
Yeah, it's extra.
The interest alone could be enough to buy this ship.
Adam, our first message today is of a promotional nature.
Congratulations to the P1 writers for getting the Neelix's champagne episode.
Probably the second burpiest type of episode after the Mornhammered episode.
Yeah.
Varietal. Goes like this. I'm an author of unusual novellas trying to get better at self-promotion.
Author of unusual novellas? Not that I know of.
Sci-fi, horror, coming out stories. I write queer fiction, meaning that my stories always involve LGBTQ plus characters, and that, in my humble opinion, my work is really fucking weird. My flagship book right now is Black Hole Recess, which is a motley crew of queer kids fighting a town terrorizing cloud monsters. Rascals is a much hated TNGF, but what my theory presupposes is maybe it'd be great if it was a completely different thing. Wow. This sounds really fun. So check out the queer fiction of M.W. Lindbergh wherever ebooks are sold. And if you do, please drop a rating and or review. It helps a ton.
I just want to say MW is, like, I've never heard that before. That's such a great nom de plume or whatever.
Yeah, M.W. Lindbergh is the author of this, I think using queer is self-consciously like weird in one case and sexually divergent in the other case fiction.
Go on.
I'm saying that queer fiction one of the queers is doing a different job than the other queer in that 3-word phrase.
Indeed. Yeah.
I feel weird saying queers because I feel like people are going to think I'm talking about quote unquote the queers. And I'm talking about the word queer in the context of that phrase.
I think the explanation and defense is really helping.
Yeah, people will feel like I definitely am coming from the right place, right?
Look, if you are interested in reading what M.W. Lindbergh has written...
If you're interested in reading what M.W. Lindbergh has written, you might be a queer.
Yeah, they say that these books are available wherever ebooks are sold, so get in there.
You know what I really hope happens in this situation is friend of DeSoto Carter Kalchik, his smash hit spicy novel review TikTok channel reviews an M.W. Lindbergh book.
How about that?
That would be great.
Benjamin R. Harrison, putting them together.
Calling a shot.
How about that? Good job. Ben, we got a personal priority one message here. It's from Mary, and it's to Reeves. This was intended to be on Valentine's Day, so we're a little bit after that, but...
Not that much.
The feeling is still pure, right?
Sure.
Happy Valentine's Day! Valentine's is what we call it in our household. My household.
That's sweet.
I'm giving that gift to Mary and Reeves. You are an amazing man in every aspect, and I am so grateful that the universe flung us together. I never knew real love until we met. I wake up every day excited to spend it with you, and will do so for the rest of our lives. My mind to your mind, my thoughts to your thoughts.
Whoa.
I love you so much, baby. UOENO.
Wow.
I got to say, like, my voice caught a couple times in that. It is so fucking sincere to read a message like that. Mary, a very well-written P1 message, and Reese, you really did great with Mary, who is able to articulate a love with such sincerity that it's almost unbelievable. Like, wow. I love it. Good job.
It's really good. I wonder what UOENO stands for.
Ueno.
Our final P1 today is from Zenobia, and it is to Justin. It goes like this. 15 years ago this February, we moved in to the share house that kicked off the greatest friendship, where black mold made our brains the rotten, pun-based glory holes that they are today. What better way to celebrate than to thank Adam and Ben, whose pod ropes of friendship now bind us, like Trip and Archer, across continents. Harry Kim drop.
Something about it reminds me of being in the womb. Get up, Harry.
Who are you?
Harry Kim. Parents must be very proud.
Who are you?
They come as a pair.
Who are you?
Harry Kim. Who else is she supposed to get chummy with? Harry Kim. And your mom? Very proud.
Who are you?
Harry Kim. I lasted 22 minutes. And your mom? Very proud. Harry Kim.
Who are you?
Harry Kim.
For best chums. How about that? Zenobia and Justin. Best chums.
Best chums.
You don't hear chum too much.
Chum is good.
As a description of friendship.
There was a girl in my elementary school named Zenobia. You don't hear that name that often. It's one of the great names.
I only think about chum in a Jaws context and in a dump a bunch of Old Spice into a rag just to be around it context. I don't think this is that kind of chum. This is the friendship chum.
I feel like chum may be a different part of the English-speaking world usage here. Like Zenobia definitely indicates that to me. Also, like maybe
I'm not going to make assumptions. They could be from anywhere, but their friendship is rock solid.
Is it their chumship technically?
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's a friendship full of chum. They want to attract the sharks.
Sure.
Listen. If you want to hear this sort of vamping about a message that is important to you, whether it's to a Valentine or it's about some queer fiction you write, or a friendship glory hole, you want to celebrate.
Which again, Adam is quoting it when he says queer fiction. It's not, he's not saying that in a weird way.
No.
I mean, like the one time he is saying it in a weird way because it's a synonym for weird in that context.
There's nothing weird about it at all.
Well, I'm just saying that because like M.W. Lindbergh did imply that one of the usages was that it was weird.
Look, what's clear about this P1 segment is that Ben is the only one that's going to feel bad about how this has gone. And I'm going to sleep great tonight. Because you know what you get with a Priority 1 message. You write a message, and then we read it, and then we drill down into what its deeper meanings are. And it's a great way to support the production of our shows. And these are shows that are worthy and in need of your support. So MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron is how you do that.
You know what's amazing about having a 3-week-old baby?
I have no idea.
I know I'm not going to sleep well tonight, no matter what.
Hey, just between you and me, you're in hell right now, right? You don't have to pretend that having a baby it's such a miracle. It's so great. Oh, it's the best. It fucking sucks, especially right now, right? You fucking know it. Admit it.
She rules. She's great. I love her.
But your life is shit.
I'm going to raise her to destroy the entire planet. That's my goal with my daughter, is to raise a destroyer of worlds. I want her to become death.
But tell me about your life, Ben. How's your life right now?
I'm saying she already kind of is showing a lot of aptitude in that department.
Hey, Ben.
What's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself a drunk Shimoda?
Incredible. Drunk Shimoda.
Oh, boy. I want to give it to Suliban Captain. Because it's like you can't do Silic in this episode. It can't be Suliban Captain, you know.
Even though, like, I love the moment when Archer drops the name. Like, in a, hey, by the way, in case you weren't even trying to take me seriously, I do know Silic.
Ooh, Archer, you dropped something?
Yeah, exactly.
I loved that, like, I guess I gotta be, like, officious about our, like, duly earned salvage rights here, guy. Like, I don't know, man. I just gotta get this fucking pod.
Yeah, yep.
I don't want to have to go back and get a bunch of cell ships and, you know, chase you with 20 of them.
Nope.
Like, that's a fucking pain in the ass. Neither of us need that.
Nope.
Give me the pod.
Give me the pod. Ben, my Shimoda's 1/2 Shimoda to Reed, 1/2 Shimoda to Trip Tucker.
Wow.
You can't just sit over a hole and drop things down into it and not be a Shimoda to me. Just a delightful scene all around. Almost redeems Reed in my mind. Not all the way, obviously, because Reed is a fucking disaster. But yeah, dropping wrenches down holes. You gotta do it. And they do it.
You have to. You gots to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Face of the fart.
All right, what do we have coming up on next week's episode of both Enterprise and The Greatest Generation? Benjamin R. Harrison is going to go to the Game of Buttholes, The Will of the Riker, Quantum Leap, and also read the capsule of what next week's episode of Star Trek Enterprise is going to be. Ben, take it away.
It's season 2, episode 17 of Star Trek Enterprise, Kanamar. It's not Kaminar, Adam. It's Kanamar.
God, I would blow that so fucking badly.
Archer and Tucker are wrongly arrested and placed on a prisoner transport heading for a penal colony named Kanamar. Things go from bad to worse when one of the other prisoners plots to take over the ship. Holy shit, dog.
How happy. Here's what I want from the next episode. I want cutbacks to Mayweather just fucking chilling the most. Just so fucking happy not to be involved in this. I've already done my time with Archer in prison. Leave me out of that.
Adam, I'm going to get our dice queued up. Hey, listen, I saw the Reddit post about how people don't care for the 100-sided die. saying it takes some of the suspense out of the game. It doesn't take suspense out of the game.
It triples the suspense. What are these people talking about?
We can hit anything, any roll.
Do these people not know how a 100-sided die works?
You're required to learn as you play. Roll.
What'd you roll, Ben?
A 76.
Chula! Did I win?
Hardly.
Which rocketed us around, put us on square 28. Regular episode next week. It's fine.
Yeah. That's what the board does.
Nothing is bad. It's good.
Sometimes it's champagne, sometimes it's breadsticks.
Next week, it's not either of those things.
No.
But next week, it is supported by all of the people that generously go to MaximumFun.org/join and prop up this leaky barge with $5 a month, you know?
Yeah. Hey, you wanna pay the Karma Barge pilot? MaximumFun.org/join. That's real talk too.
Got to thank Wendy Pretty, our producer and editor, who just does an amazing job keeping the plates spinning around here. We have to thank Bill Tilley, our temporal Cold War time consigliere, who keeps us apprised of what's going on in the DMs. He's who you're going to encounter if you want to send something into the show. DM him to get our address, and he'll determine if what you'd like to send is worth sending in.
Bill Tilley is so great. We're so lucky to know that guy.
Yeah. Check out the at Greatest Trek Insta to see the ongoing project of making trading cards for Star Trek episodes that he does. Every time I see him, I'm like, God, fuck, Bill Tilley still got it.
Yeah.
After all these years, still got the fastball.
Sure does. Dark Materia does the music you're hearing right now. Adam Ragusia does the theme and interstitial music. Adam Ragusia, the third, some weeks at the fourth co-host of the Wholesome podcast that we do about sharing things that we like with each other. A new subject every week. A new show every week, really.
Yeah, and got to thank Rob Adler, our social media director. Follow at Greatest Trek all over the web. Join the drunkshimoto.com Discord or add something to the greatestgen.wikia.com wiki. And with that, we will be back at you next week with another great episode of Greatest Gen Voyager, of Star Trek Voyager, and episode of the Greatest Generation Voyager, where Adam and I are wondering, should we be on a prison transport? Because, Adam, I didn't mean queer in I was quoting and I was trying to clarify, okay?
Ben, I don't think you do well on a prison transport. I'm just going to say that.
I don't think that's my word to use, but I was trying to provide, because, I don't... Oh, fuck.
Ben, you read the teleprompter. That's all you did.
How about in Malcolm read the teleprompter?
Make it so.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported directly by you.